y'all, it's Timidity, and I was in a good mood, so I figured I'd make another video. I hope you excuse that my content isn't like 100% like on recently. I feel like there's a certain bar I hold myself to where it's like it has to be, I don't know, I'm gonna put it like this. Usually I make content when I'm manic, or if I'm in a very specific mood to just like yell and scream at the top of my lungs, and that's like, whenever you see me make a video, it's just me being extremely passionate about something before I burn out like 10 minutes later, so whenever you see a video and you're like, huh, to me it seems a little more disorganized today, that's probably just because I made it like casual, because I made it without a plan. And this is going to be one of those days, so just warning you. I think curiosity is one of those things that like should be encouraged in children. Like when I was growing up, it's one of those things I was kind of shunned for, or just like made fun of for. Like, for example, and also I feel like people always assume that kids have like off intentions when they forget it's their first time on this fucking planet. Kids don't know shit. Like, think about it. Like, there's a whole bunch of shit you didn't know as a kid. Kids aren't gonna know what fucking taxes are. Kids aren't gonna know how to pour a glass of water perfectly with a big ass jug. Like, if I go up to a fucking 2-year-old and I'm like, with the big ass jug, hey, pour this into a wine glass perfectly, then I'm gonna expect that cup to either get broken or overflow and a whole bunch of shit. Because guess what? Kids are kind of dumbasses. You need to give them more leeway and freedom to learn shit. If you just go off the bat calling them a dumbass, like I see so many people, especially in the black community, or just all communities, we got some abusive ass parents and lots of generational trauma because our parents were not patient enough with us and usually just called us stupid off the bat. Like, I remember whenever I would come up to my mom with a question, like, she would always just brush me off, like, 1 second. Like, for example, let's say you're a kid and you go up to your mom like, hey mom, why is the sky blue? Or like, why do we need to season food? Or why can't we just eat food cold? Like, that's something that a kid might naturally wonder about because it's their first time on this planet and they want to know shit. And if you are one of those parents just like my mother and many people's mothers, they're just like, why the fuck would you ask me that dumbass shit, nigga? Do I look like I fucking know? Oh my god. Google that shit. You spend so much time on that fucking laptop anyway. Well, you don't do anything fucking useless. Like, if you just off the hand, off the rip, start verbally abusing your kid, 1, go fuck yourself, seek some help. Serious help. 2, what do you think that's actually gonna do to the kid? Is it gonna increase your bond with them? Is it gonna make them feel smart? When they actually are very smart, because they're questioning the world around them instead of just going, oh, this shit's that way because fuck it, that's why. Do you want them to just blindly believe in everything and not question shit? Because, you know, that's how... What's that motherfucker with the fucking... You know, he questioned shit. He was like, hey, which goes around which? Like, does the earth go around the sun? Or does the sun go around the earth? And then... What was that nigga's name? I gotta Google that real quick. Alright, I'm back. I just Googled it. It was fucking Galileo. Galileo was like, hey, guess what? I think that the earth actually was, like, revolves around the sun. I'm gonna be honest. I think that, like... He had a feeling in his gut. He was like, I'm curious, and I think this is really it. And then the religious people were like, first of all, fuck you. L plus ratio plus burned at the stake. And then that nigga died. I don't know if he was burned at the stake, but I already Googled for like 2 whole minutes. I don't want to pause this video any longer. Like, unless you're in some sort of like extreme dictatorship where certain things, like, you know, if it's like, ooh, we can't have this girl openly reading books or else our family might have a house set on fire and she be burned at the stake or some shit. Like, if you're in one of those fucked up ass countries, I get not wanting to be curious with your kid, but if you're in like a relatively first world country or just a place where there's no harm coming whatsoever from your kid wanting to know things, then why would you punish them for wanting to know things? So if anything, if I ever have a kid someday, which I would like, I will admit, and they're like, hey mom, and they ask me some shit like, why do you have to fry foods to a certain degree of temperature before eating it? Why can't you just like make it hot on the outside then eat it as is or eat it cold? Like, and if I don't know the answer, I'm not gonna make them feel like a dumbass just because I don't know. I'm gonna be like, that's a good question. How about we look that up together so that we both can know and we make it a bonding experience? Why would you go out of your way to make your kid feel shit? Also, sometimes you just have to believe that kids ask things because they genuinely want to know. Like, genuinely just want to figure shit out. Like, I remember, like, honestly, this could go from so many topics, but I'll start small. I remember when I was young, like, before, like, when I hadn't even got my period yet, I remember asking my sister, hey, so, how do you get those bumps on your forehead? And I didn't realize how this would come off, because I didn't realize it was an insecurity. Like, at all. And so then she just fucking flew off the handle, started raging at me like, oh, what the, you can't just ask me that, Tamia. What the hell is wrong with you? And just going hella in deep, like hella hard off the bat, just assuming I meant the worst. And I remember, I'm kind of glad it happened to me, because I remember thinking, damn, bitch, it was just a question. I didn't know it was a soft spot for you, and I just didn't know how it was caused. Because, you know, I was fucking, ooh, I just didn't know. So then when my younger brother, before puberty kicked in for him, and it still hasn't yet, that little fuck has gone through all of middle school without a single fucking zit. How dare he? But moving on, when he was like super young, like what, 7 or something, just young ass age, he asked me, hey, how did you get those bumps on your face? I thought, oh, I see why it felt a little insulting, because, you know, usually don't want things pointed out about your body. But I did. Just knew, be patient with him. He's just a kid who's curious because he's never experienced it and has no idea what it's like to have it, and maybe he will someday. He hasn't. Fuck that kid. But moving on. And I just said, oh yeah, that can come like from hormones. Whenever you become like a teenager and start growing into your body will just say fuck you for anything that you eat ever again. So now whenever I eat like fried chicken or certain greasy foods, my skin breaks out, or if you're stressed out too much. So it's good to eat healthy. And like, but some people also have hormone issues, so sometimes your body just says fuck you and starts making acne. So as long as you drink water and eat healthy and try to stay low stress, then there's a good chance you can go a long time without getting it. And just, you know, wash your face, take good care of your hygiene. And, you know, I explained it to him thoroughly, and he's like, oh, okay, thank you. And see, me and him were close as fuck. Back when I talked to him, I still miss him. God bless his soul. Well, he's not dead. I just don't talk to him. I should send him a text soon from... Anyway, moving on. Also, my sister was a massive cunt growing up. Like, you know, imagine being fucking 9 and asking your sister who Hillary Clinton was, and her just rolling your eyes, and then you say something like, so, was she, like, president, or was she, like, a secretary? Because I didn't know shit about how governments worked or whatever. They did not do a very good job teaching me in school for a lot of reasons. Moving on. And then she literally just went... I don't know, Tamia, what do you think it is? What do you think? Like, she basically just had the mindset of, like, as if I fucking know better. I'm fucking 9. I was never taught who that bitch was. Like, I heard her name on the news, Hillary Clinton, blah, 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 all this shit. I knew that she was married to someone important, but I didn't know who. I didn't know her position. And so I just said, oh, okay, then I guess she was just president then. And then she's like, Tamia, you already know that's not the fucking answer. And the thing is, I said that specifically because I didn't know. So I just said what I thought would be the wrong answer because I knew she'd flip shit at me. Or maybe even tell me the right answer. But then she just flipped shit at me and didn't bother to go, ooh, I could make myself seem smart to my sister by just talking to her and, like, encouraging her curiosity and just having her, like, I don't know. Wouldn't it make more sense to just give someone the answer versus be like, what the fuck do you think? And then, like, glaring at them. But she's a stank-ass bitch. Moving on. Fuck you, bitch. And I think it's just something that should be encouraged. Like, no matter what your age is, curiosity, always. And I guess as an example, once in high school, I remember asking some questions about, like, transness and, like, how that certain things worked. And my teacher just kind of brushed it off with, let's let that be for them. Let's let those topics be just for them. And I don't fully blame them, but at the same time, it would have been nice to know, because, like, now I'm, trans, or at least non-binary. So it's like... You know, some of those questions would have been beneficial to answer if they would have just said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. Maybe you should, like, talk to trans people online about it anonymously or something. Like, go on Reddit. Or I feel like there were just more solutions than just kind of shutting me down. Because some of that shit I would have loved to know. So then I know what things I can and can't talk about. But then later on in life, I did meet my friend Jacob. They are, well, you know. And then we got to talk and they explained anything they could to me because they knew, and Tamia just wants to know. And then that actually was pivotal to me learning certain things about myself and being like, oh, okay, I feel very similarly about a lot of the shit they just described. And it kind of, like, taught me some shit. Anyway, in a nutshell, I just hate when people, like, talk down to others. Or, like, I feel like the world could be better if people, like, open the fuck up. Like, you know, that's why I encourage it. Like, you know, so even when some of the questions are stupid, like whenever I've dated a white guy who was like, why can't we say the N-word? Or, oh yeah, I spent an entire date with this grown-ass man who was asking me, so why are black people so behind in life? And I had to explain, like, and he at first rolled his eyes when I said, ooh, white supremacy. But then once I told him all the little intricacies and details, he was like, holy shit. I never thought about it that way. Or, like, you know, I have multiple conversations with people of different races, different genders, so much. Like, I've had to explain to people all about, like, hey, this is why trans people feel this way, or this is why certain black people do this, or just more, so that we can understand each other. The world's not going to be a better place until we learn to understand each other and be open-minded and kinder to each other. So just fucking do it. Stop being mean to people. God bless. Good night.